My wife told me to skip our anniversary dinner so I could babysit her nephew. She said it was important family stuff. I found out later she was on a rooftop bar with her coworker. When I called her, she said, "Don't be so controlling. It's just drinks." The next day, I sent her a playlist. Each song title spelled out what I knew. At the end was a voice recording of their whole conversation. The last thing she said before the line cut? "I'll never regret this." She did. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept replaying that rooftop photo in my head. That watch. Her smile. The casual way she brushed me off on the phone. I wasn't just angry. I felt small. Embarrassed. Like the joke was on me, and I was the only one who didn't get it. The next morning, she was in full "everything is normal" mode. Hair tied back, wearing her favorite hoodie, sipping her overpriced oat milk latte. She smiled at me like nothing happened. "Thanks again for watching, Ethan. You're the best," she said. I nodded. Didn't say much. She had no idea I'd already started looking into her phone habits. I work in property management, but I've picked up more than a few tech skills over the years, just from dealing with camera systems and people trying to lie about late fees. I knew how to recover deleted call logs, how to trace text backups from shared cloud accounts. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for at first. But it didn't take long. There was a backup from 3 weeks ago, just enough data synced to our old shared drive before she changed the settings. I pulled the files into my laptop that night after she went to bed. It was all there. Long, late-night calls with someone labeled JMKTG, a few screenshots of memes between them, but one stuck out. It was a photo of 2 wine glasses and the words, "This is how trouble starts," wineglass winking face. Then there was the kicker, a photo of the rooftop bar, same night as our anniversary. Only this one wasn't cropped. It was her and Jeremy, full view. His arm was around her. She didn't tag it. But he did. I saved everything. The next day, I installed a voice recorder app on an old iPhone and left it in her car, tucked under the passenger seat. I figured if they were meeting again, that'd be where she'd talk freely. I didn't even have to wait long. That Friday, she told me she had a strategy dinner with her team. She even dressed up. White top, heels, sprayed the same perfume I bought her for our cancelled anniversary. I waved goodbye and waited 2 hours. Then I tracked the iPhone's location. It wasn't at any restaurant. It was parked near the Aloft Hotel, just off Biltmore Avenue, same rooftop bar as last time. I waited until after midnight to retrieve the phone. I sat in my car in our driveway, plugged in headphones, and hit play. I listened to everything. Laughs. Clinks of glasses. Her voice, softer, slower. And Jeremy's voice. He called her baby. He told her, "You don't have to feel bad about him. You've already been gone a long time." She didn't argue. She said, "I just don't know how to tell him." Then she laughed again and said, "I'll never regret this." That was the last clear thing I heard before the noise drowned them out and the recording stopped. I felt like the air had left the car. This was our life. Our house. Our marriage. And she threw it away for bar drinks and hotel room flirting. But I didn't yell. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't even cry. I just sat there. And I planned. I spent the weekend like a ghost in my own house. I smiled when I needed to. I helped her fold laundry. I made breakfast Sunday morning like I always did. She sat across from me in that old worn t-shirt I liked, hair messy, pretending like we were still us. But I wasn't there anymore. I was already thinking ahead, figuring out how to make her feel what I felt. Monday, I took the day off work. Told her I had a property inspection out of town. She didn't ask questions. Why would she? I was the one who stayed home. The one who was safe. I drove across town to a little diner where I knew Jeremy sometimes stopped for lunch. I'd seen it on his social media once. He posted a photo of the chili, tagged the place. I waited in the parking lot with the windows down, drinking stale gas station coffee, nerves jumping like live wires. Sure enough, just after noon, he showed up. Alone. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I followed him back to his office. Took note of his license plate. Snapped a photo. Then I went home and got to work. I spent the next few days building something small but sharp. A playlist. It sounds stupid, I know. But I wanted it to be quiet at first. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just enough to shake her. Each song title was chosen carefully. It wasn't random. The first letters of each track spelled, "I know what you did." I loaded it onto a flash drive and left it on her pillow one night while she was in the shower. No note. Just the playlist and a label, for when you're alone. She didn't say anything that night. She went to bed without a word. I pretended I was asleep when she slid under the covers. But the next morning, her mood had shifted. She was quieter. Her eyes darted around. She kept looking at her phone like she was waiting for something. She didn't know I had more. Later that day, while she was at work, I sent her a second file. This one was the voice recording. No title. Just an audio clip sent from a throwaway email account. It was only 4 minutes long. No explanation. No threats. No fighting. She listened to it around 2:12 p.m., I saw it through the tracker embedded in the file. She didn't text me. Didn't call. She just didn't come home that night. At 7:34 p.m., I got one message, "Can we talk?" I didn't reply. Instead, I sent her one final thing. A second playlist. This one spelled out, "You threw US away." And the last track? A 30-second audio file titled "Final Words." It was just her voice. "I'll never regret this." That same line from the rooftop. The one she probably didn't even remember saying. But she would now. And that's when things started to unravel. She came home the next morning. Didn't knock. Didn't creep in like someone guilty. She walked through the front door like it was still hers. But I could tell. Her face looked pale, like she hadn't slept. Her lips were cracked, eyes puffy. She was still in the same clothes from yesterday. She stood in the doorway, holding her phone like a weapon. "You violated my privacy," she said. That was her opening line. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I can explain." Not even a lie to save herself. She came in swinging. I stood in the kitchen, pouring coffee into my old mug with the chipped handle. The one she used to steal from me every morning. I didn't even look at her. "I gave you everything," I said. "And you pissed on it." She flinched. "But not enough." "That recording was illegal," she said. "You can't just spy on people." That's when I looked at her. Really looked. "You weren't people. You were my wife." Silence hung between us. Heavy. Sharp. She opened her mouth like she wanted to yell. Maybe cry. But nothing came out. Instead, she turned and walked to the bedroom. I heard drawers opening. Hangers clinking. She was packing. I thought I'd feel better watching her do it. But it just made me feel hollow. Until I noticed something strange. She wasn't just taking her clothes. She was pulling files from the desk drawer. Our financial stuff. Tax returns. Joint account papers. Even a backup hard drive I hadn't touched in years. That's when it hit me. This wasn't panic. She had been planning this. "Are you moving out, or escaping?" I asked. She froze. Didn't turn around. That silence said more than any apology ever could. I let her leave. Didn't stop her. Didn't chase her down the driveway when she threw a duffel bag in her back seat and peeled out like the place was on fire. But I wasn't done. I went into the home office, opened the backup hard drive, and checked the contents. Half of it was normal stuff, old photos, home videos, her marketing projects. But buried deep in a folder labeled archive_2019 were things I never expected to see. Legal documents. A prenup template, never signed, never discussed. Screenshots of my personal emails. Even some texts with my brother. Private stuff I'd never shared with her. And one document that made my stomach flip. A draft of a separation agreement. With dates. From 2 months ago. I printed it. Read every word. She'd been planning this quietly, long before the rooftop bar. Long before she asked me to babysit Ethan. She wanted out. She just didn't want to be the bad guy. So she created distance. Set me up to look controlling. Cold. The kind of husband you grow out of. She wanted an excuse. Jeremy wasn't just a fling. He was the lifeboat she'd been quietly building while sinking the ship we built. And suddenly, my playlist and audio file weren't enough. She didn't deserve a quiet exit. She deserved to watch everything she built around her lies crumble in public. So I started phase 2. I started with her job. She'd always bragged about how tight her office was. "We're like family," she used to say. Happy hours, client dinners, trust-building exercises. That kind of place. So I sent an anonymous email to her boss. No rant. No curse words. Just a link to a cloud folder. Inside were the photos. The audio. A brief message that said, "This is how your senior marketing associate represents your brand." I didn't stop there. I knew her office had strict ethics rules. Their website had a whole section on workplace relationships and how they handled them. Conflict of interest, reputation, all that corporate talk. I highlighted the key parts, attached them to the email. By the next morning, she was suspended pending review. By the end of the week, she was fired. She tried calling me. Left voicemails crying, begging. But I didn't answer. Not once. Instead, I went to a lawyer. Took every document from the hard drive with me. The secret draft of the separation agreement, the evidence of her relationship with Jeremy, and, most important, the proof she accessed my private messages without consent. Turns out, that kind of thing doesn't sit well in divorce court. The lawyer was sharp, aggressive. He said, "We don't just play defense. We go for blood." We filed the paperwork fast. North Carolina allows for fault-based divorce if there's clear adultery and malicious behavior. And that's what we used. The judge didn't even blink. I kept the house. The car. Full control of our joint savings. She walked out with her clothes and whatever fit in her trunk. But revenge wasn't just about stuff. It was about the story. So I shared the playlist publicly. Just the titles. No names. But anyone who followed her on social media could connect the dots. It blew up. Quietly at first. Then people started asking questions. That's when Jeremy's girlfriend messaged me. Yeah. Turns out he wasn't single either. She didn't know about Sherry. Not until I showed her the recordings. The photos. The timeline. That blew up too. Jeremy lost his job not long after. Turns out fraternizing with a client rep during company hours wasn't a good look either. The last time I saw Sherry was in a parking lot outside a strip mall pharmacy. She looked tired. Older. Like she'd aged 5 years in 2 months. She walked up to my car. Knocked on the window. I rolled it down halfway. "Do you hate me?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. Then I said, "I don't hate you. I just don't believe in you anymore." She nodded. Wiped her eyes. "I'll never regret this," she whispered again. Same words. But her voice cracked this time. Then she walked away. And that was it. I wasn't proud of everything I did. I could have taken the high road. But the truth is, sometimes people like her need to feel what they made you feel. Not just the pain, but the silence. The doubt. The slow burn of everything crashing down. And she did. She regretted it. Because when someone shows you what you meant to them, and it's nothing, you show them what that costs. And then you let them live with it. There's a part of me that wanted to keep going. Not out of spite. Just because I didn't feel finished. She wrecked my life like it was nothing, like it was a song she could turn off whenever she got bored. And now that the music stopped, she was standing in the silence, hoping I'd press play again. But I didn't. Still, something was eating at me. I'd gotten everything, the house, the bank accounts, even some sympathy from her own family. Her sister reached out, said she was sorry I got dragged into Sherry's phase. Her words, not mine. I didn't tell her the full truth. I didn't have to. But I still felt dirty. Like I let her change me. Because I did. I stopped being the guy who trusted first. I stopped believing in second chances. I even started checking my own damn texts like I was the one hiding something. That's when I realized something ugly. Revenge doesn't fix things. It punishes, sure. It makes people hurt. But it doesn't rebuild anything. It doesn't give you back the nights you stayed up worrying. Or the trust you gave away like a fool. It just leaves you sitting in the ruins, staring at the empty space where your life used to be. One night, maybe a month later, I got a letter. Not an email. A real letter. Written in her handwriting. It wasn't long. It said, I was weak. I thought I was chasing something real, but all I did was throw away the only thing that was. You didn't deserve what I did. I lied to you. I betrayed you. And I paid for it. I know you'll never forgive me. I just wanted you to know, you were never the problem. I was. I read it once. Then I set it on fire in the kitchen sink. Not because I hated her. Not even because I didn't care. But because I did. And holding on to that letter felt like holding on to a chain I finally broke. I've started over since then. Sold the house. Moved about an hour west, just outside Waynesville. Bought a fixer-upper with a long porch and nothing around but trees. I drink my coffee in peace now. I go to bed without waiting for the sound of a door I don't trust. And every now and then, when I hear a certain song on the radio, one of those titles from the playlist, I smile. Not because I'm proud. But because I survived her. And that's all I needed.